Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to build a home studio for rappers for less than $400. And there's a few major reasons why I believe every single rapper needs to have their own home recording studio. Number one is you just save a lot of money in the long run. Instead of having to go to someone else's studio every single time you want to work on a song or record a song, you can have your own personal workspace where you can spend as much time as you want working on your songs, writing your songs, or even developing your rap voice and your delivery for each song. Also, recording at someone else's studio can sometimes be nerve-wracking depending on how comfortable you are with that person. And honestly, some studios just don't have good vibes. And as they say, there's no place like home. And even if you do decide to record at someone else's studio when your song is completed, still being able to work on that song and get the rough draft done and all that will still just make you better prepared for when you do decide to go lay it down at someone else's studio. And also, having your own studio can help boost your productivity in the following ways. It will allow you to get your ideas down as you're working on a song, so you can literally just record your vocals as you come up with your lyrics. And that way you don't forget them when you come back to your song maybe a couple of days later. Everything will be there recorded and you can just pick up where you left off. Also, since you're going to be using your own home studio, you'll also be using a DAW, a DAW, a digital audio workstation, which will allow you to loop sections of the song that you're working on. So let's say you're working on that hook. Well, you can loop that 8-bar section of the hook and just vibe out and work on that one section of the song instead of having to keep rewinding and replaying that section of the song if you were like playing the instrumental off your phone or something like that. Also, having your own home studio can make collaborating with other rappers a little bit easier since you're not having to rely on another engineer at another studio to send off files or maybe rough draft versions of your song to other rappers that you're wanting to work with. And even if you're not even at the level on your rap journey to where you're writing your own songs, this can also help you learn as a rapper to where you can import songs from your favorite artists and you can study them and get a deeper understanding of why they sound so good to you. And if you want to learn more about how to study your favorite rappers, make sure that you check out my video that I did about it, which I'll post a link to in the video's description below. And here's one more thing that's really cool about having your own studio. Not only can it save you money because you're not having to spend as much time recording at someone else's studio, you may decide just to record your own vocals all yourself and either mix the song yourself or you may send it off to someone else to get mixed. But also, if you get comfortable and good enough at recording, you can start charging other rappers to come record at your studio. So not only can your studio potentially save you money, it could also make you money. Without further ado, here's everything that you must have to set up your own home studio. And these aren't going to be the cheapest products out there, and they're not going to be the most expensive products out there. I've found that typically it's best to find things in the middle because if you buy something too cheap, then you're going to have to be replacing it pretty soon because it typically won't last as long. If you get something super expensive, you're not getting as much value for your money. So it's typically good to find something in the middle range, something that's going to be good quality and is going to last you a long time. And depending on when you watch this video, these prices will fluctuate probably up and down, so keep that in mind. And I'll be posting links to everything that I'm mentioning today in the video's description below. Any products that I mentioned will be affiliate links, which basically means that I will get a small percentage of the sale at no additional cost to you. So it's a great way to show me some love. The first thing that you need is an audio interface. Basically, your audio interface is the hub of your recording studio. And it's how all of your components, such as your microphone, your speakers, and your headphones, connect to your computer using one simple USB cable. Your audio interface also allows you to easily control volume levels for all of these components as well. Using an audio interface, such as the PreSonus Studio 24C 2x2, gives you low latency monitoring. This allows you to hear yourself in real time while you're recording without any delay. The PreSonus Studio 24C will be perfect for your needs. It's also going to power your microphone using what is known as 48-volt phantom power. Basically, this is a built-in amplifier that's going to give your high-quality microphone the juice that it needs to perform. So when you record, you need to make sure that that 48-volt switch is turned on the front of your audio interface for the mic to work. Always remember that. And this audio interface also has 2 input channels on the front, and each input can use either XLR mic cables or TRS 1/4-inch cables, which are typically used for guitars and things like that. This interface will also come with a USB cable that you need to connect it to your computer. And on the back of this audio interface, on the far right, is where you will connect your headphones, which you will be using while you're recording, so you don't hear the music being picked up by the microphone. Only you will be hearing the music. And to the left are your main outputs. This is where you would connect your speakers, also known as studio monitors. And to the left of that are your MIDI in and out connections for hooking up MIDI keyboards, which are used for making beats on your computer. But all you need to get started are headphones. But in my efforts to get you up and running while spending as little as possible, I'm leaving speakers and MIDI keyboards off the list, but don't panic. I will also include a suggestion for both at the end of this video. The next step to having an affordable home recording studio is having a good microphone. There's many different types of microphones out there, but the one that I recommend for most rappers is to use a condenser microphone with a cardioid pattern. And this is going to allow you to block out what's behind the microphone and pick out what's in front of the mic only. And this is really important because a lot of us are recording in home studio environments, in less than ideal environments, and you want to point the back of that microphone towards anything that could potentially be making noise. Like this could be the fan from your computer, or if there's an AC something, or a noisy window with loud stuff outside, you could face the back of the mic towards that's making noise so that it helps block it out. So with that being said, always make sure that you're recording into the front of the microphone. Believe it or not, this is a common mistake a lot of rappers make that I've noticed from coaching people for many years. And typically the front of the microphone usually has the emblem or logo of the microphone manufacturer on the front of it. But just be double sure that you're rapping into the front of it. And you'll know that you're rapping in the front of the microphone when you sound nice and bright and full. If you're recording into the back of the microphone, you'll sound darker and more muffled. You may even sound like you're across the room, and that's because it's picking you up from across the room when you turn around backwards. And the microphone that I recommend is the MXL V67G. It's the perfect microphone for an affordable recording studio. It's actually the same microphone I'm using right now as I'm speaking to you. And it's great. It's not going to break the bank. Sounds great. Can't go wrong. Now we need to connect that microphone to your audio interface through that front XLR input, which requires an XLR microphone cable. There's nothing sexy about this. It's just a cable that connects your microphone to your audio interface. And you're also going to need something to put that microphone on, which is a mic stand. You likely already know what these are, and there's many styles of mic stands, but one of the most common ones used for recording vocals is known as a tripod boom microphone stand. And this microphone stand will give you the flexibility to adjust the height of your microphone to fit your needs perfectly. So regardless if you wish to record while sitting down at your computer or while standing up, this microphone stand has you covered. Now, all that you need to do in order to connect your microphone to that microphone stand is attach what is known as a shock mount, which is a small metal or plastic piece which screws onto the bottom of the microphone. It has this little elbow/arm looking thingamajigger that protrudes off one side, which is what you screw onto the threads of the arm of the microphone stand. So you first connect the shock mount to the bottom of your microphone, and then you connect the elbow of the shock mount to the threading at the end of the arm of the mic stand. And shock mounts actually decouple the microphone from the mic stand. So just in case you accidentally bump the mic stand or hit the leg of the mic stand or something with your feet while you're recording, it shouldn't get picked up on the microphone. Something else that you're going to need is something called a pop filter. If you're really scraping the bottom of the financial barrel and don't mind being a domestic abuse victim, then you could make one of these by stealing your mom's pantyhose and use a clothes hanger. But ain't nobody got time for all of that, so go ahead and cop one of these, which easily connects to the arm of the mic stand by a screw-on doohickey so that the front of the screen covers up the front of the microphone. The purpose of a pop filter is that it greatly reduces what is known as plosives. And plosives are basically large bursts of air that are generated when you say words that begin with like puh, buh, duh, huh type of sounds. If you've ever heard wind noise being picked up on a video camera's audio recording, it's essentially the same thing. A simple pop filter will greatly reduce any plosives from sneaking their way into your vocal recordings, and it does make a huge difference in the quality of your vocal recordings. So don't skip on this one. Trust me. Another cheap but very powerful addition to your home recording studio setup is something known as an isolation shield. This will act as a miniature recording booth because it separates the microphone from the rest of the room, which helps with preventing unwanted noise from the room getting into your recordings. Now, if money isn't an issue for you, then I would highly recommend the Chaotica Eyeball. That's what I'm using right here. To me, it looks really good, and they even have customizable options for it. The Chaotica Eyeball typically runs around $200 or so. But If you're pinching pennies and your money is tight as spandex, then I also would recommend the Altron PF8. And this one's around $22 or so. And you may notice that it comes with a built-in pop filter, which is the blue circle on the front. But from my experience, I find it's best to double up and use an additional pop filter, which I've already recommended above. Now, how in the world are you supposed to be hearing yourself while you're recording if we're not going to talk about some speakers? Well, the speakers we're going to be talking about are headphones. We use headphones while we're recording and not speakers because we only need the microphone to pick up our voice. So headphones will allow you to hear the instrumental and your voice at the same time being picked up from the microphone, but the microphone itself is only going to be picking up your voice, and that's what you want. So when it comes to headphones, there's two main options that you have. You have what you call open back headphones and closed back headphones. Simply put, open back headphones allow sound to escape the headphones, and this is good for people who are like mixing and stuff like that. But for people who are recording, you need closed back headphones. This prevents the music that you're hearing while you're recording from bleeding into the actual microphone. So that's what you want. And the headphones that I recommend are these Status Audio CB1 headphones. These are so freaking comfortable, man. I've had these for several years. There's some days where I'm spending 8-10 hours in here in the studio with these headphones on, and they are so comfortable. You can see how thick the padding is right here. Again, I've used these already for several years. They still look brand new. They're super duper comfortable. And I've used quite a few headphones over the years. These are like pillows on your head. And they're very affordable. I think they're currently only around $60. You cannot go wrong with these, trust me. And the last and final piece to completing your home recording studio setup is you need a DAW. That's your digital audio workstation. This is the software that you're going to be spending all your time in, writing your songs and recording your vocals. And if you start dibbling and dabbling into mixing or even making beats, this is the software that you're going to be using to do all of that. And there's many fantastic DAWs out there, and there's no such thing as the best DAW. You've got Pro Tools, FL Studio, Logic, Reaper, Reason, Cubase, Sonar, and the list goes on. And honestly, they're all great. But for this particular list, there's only one major issue with all of those. They cost money. And all you really need at the core of your home studio setup is the ability to record your vocals and be able to maybe edit them if you want, or maybe you start doing some like mixing and things of that nature. And Studio One 5 Prime is the perfect DAW for that because one, you can use it on both Windows and Apple computers, which is very important. But also it doesn't hold you back. It allows you to record your vocals and do everything you need to do at the core to get your ideas down and get your songs completed and out the door. And I love Studio One. I'm someone who used FL Studio for many, many years. I've been using FL Studio since like FL Studio 1.0 or 2.0 back in the early 2000s. I recently switched to Studio One, and I'm telling y'all, I've seen the light and I love it. It's so intuitive and you can do so much faster than other DAWs like FL Studio. And I'm not knocking FL Studio. I'm telling you, I use FL Studio for so long. But trust me when I tell you, doing stuff in Studio One is so quick, so intuitive. There's so much drag and drop. It's beautiful. Studio One 5 Prime is the way to go, and it won't cost you a dime. So that completes everything that you'll need to get your home studio built so that you can start recording songs with professional equipment without breaking the bank. And in case you're feeling a little bougie and you're wanting to splurge a little bit and get yourself some studio monitors, aka speakers, then I would recommend the Edifier R980Ts, which are powered studio speakers. And these are great quality at a price point of $70. You can't beat that. And if you get these speakers, then you're also going to need two RCA cables that have RCA connections on one side and TRS 1/4-inch connections on the other. Now, the RCA connectors that are shown on the right in this picture will connect to the speakers that I recommended, and the TRS 1/4-inch shown on the left will connect into the back of the PreSonus Studio 24C audio interface. Now, if you're someone who's also wanting to make beats and you're looking for a Midi keyboard, there's a few things to take in consideration. One of the most important things to consider is how much space is your keyboard going to take up in your studio. Unless you're already a trained pianist, then you're likely not going to have a keyboard with a lot of keys. And when you're making beats, you're probably only going to be playing one octave at a time, so you won't need all those keys anyways. And this is one of the reasons that I recommend the Acaia Professional MPK Mini MK3 25 key Midi Keyboard. That was a mouthful, wasn't it? And this would be perfect for most producers because this keyboard covers 2 octaves at a time, and you can easily shift up or down an octave with a click of a button. And it also has 8 backlit velocity-sensitive drum pads, also a joystick, and 8 programmable rotary knobs, and an LED display. And before we wrap up, one question I want to go ahead and answer that I get asked a lot is what laptop that I would recommend for rappers to purchase who are looking to record their vocals. And I would recommend the Acer Aspire 5 A515 5556 VK. This is the perfect middle of the road laptop. It's not super duper cheap and going to crap out on you super fast and get outdated really quick. It's not overly expensive to the point where you're paying for a bunch of crap you don't even need. This is going to be a solid laptop that's going to deliver plenty of performance for what you're going to need it for, and it should last you a very long time. I hope that this guide not only helps you, but encourages you not to be afraid or overwhelmed to get your own home studio setup. My name is Cole Mize with ColeMizeStudios.com, where I strive to make you a better rapper now. And if you're trying to perfect your rap skills, make sure that you get yourself a free copy of my ebook, The #1 Fundamental to Rapping, via the link in the video's description below. And be sure to subscribe to this channel for more straight to the point, no BS, how to rap video tutorials just like this one. And always remember, when it comes to rapping, there's no rules, there's only techniques. Peace. Hey man, you see that subscribe button right there? Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. Oh, and don't forget the bell icon. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. Hey, I know you see that like button, right? Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. And look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, today I'm gonna kill it.